Hi kids, it's Tuesday night, and usually on Tuesday nights I'm at the Open Door Project with lots of you. We started having kids night almost 4 years ago, and we've never taken off for 4 Tuesdays in a row. This is the first time, and I'm trying to be really patient, probably like lots of you are trying to do with school and everything else that's been canceled. I decided that instead of making a video at the Open Door this time, I would read some stories to you this evening because I just really love stories. When I was a kid, reading stories was something I loved to do. I love to have people read stories to me too. So tonight I'm going to read a few stories to you, and I thought that I would do that from my bedroom. So if you look around me, this is my room where I sleep. I have a bedroom in the attic at my house, which I really love. Way up in the top of the house, it's very peaceful. It feels very safe for me. I like to light a candle and just spend time here in my safe place. I hope your bedroom feels like a safe place to you too. So tonight I'm going to read you some stories from my favorite place, which is my room. I'm going to start by reading you a story that I've read to the kids at the Open Door. It's called The Invisible Boy. And I like this story a lot because it explains what happens when one person takes the time to see another person. Every kid and every adult knows what it's like sometimes to feel invisible, and all it takes is just one person to help us realize that we're not invisible, and that's a really, really good feeling. I was thinking that maybe some of you can start to sort of feel invisible when you're at home, away from friends, away from normal life for a while. But I want you to know that you're not invisible, and you're certainly not alone. And a lot of the feelings that you have, probably all of them really, lots and lots of other kids and even grown-ups are having the same feelings. And they can be really difficult feelings too. The whole coronavirus thing really changed our lives, didn't it? And it's hard to know how to feel about all of that. So I'm going to read you some stories and then maybe share some of my thoughts and ideas with you as we kind of go along. So the first book is The Invisible Boy. Can you see Brian, the invisible boy? Even Mrs. Carlotti has trouble noticing him in her classroom. She's too busy dealing with Nathan and Sophie. If you look at the picture, you can tell that the invisible boy is in the front, and you can probably tell that because he's the only one who doesn't have color on his body. Nathan has problems with what Mrs. Carlotti calls volume control. He uses his inside voice too much. Sophie whines and complains when she doesn't get her way. Nathan and Sophie take up a lot of time, but Brian doesn't. When the bell rings for recess, Micah and JT take turns choosing kids for their kickball teams. The best players get picked first, then the best friends of the best players, and then the friends of the best friends. Only Brian is left, still waiting and hoping. I remember reading this at the Open Door and asking who knows what it feels like to not be picked, and every single kid raised their hand because everyone knows what it feels like when people are picking teams and they don't pick you first, sometimes even last. Ugh, it is hard to be picked last. JT glances in Brian's direction and just as quickly looks away. We've got enough players for each team, he tells the others. Let's play ball. Oh no. So sad. That is not a good feeling at all. In the cafeteria, Madison and her friends talk about her birthday party. The rope swing over the pool was awesome. Yeah, so was the water slide. That was the best pool party ever. I'm so glad you guys had fun, says Madison. Everybody did except Brian. He wasn't invited. When I asked the kids at the open door who knows what it feels like to have kids talking about something like a party that they weren't invited to and all the other kids were, again, every single kid raised their hand because we all do know what that feels like, and it does not feel good. Something that I told the kids when we read this story was, it's okay to have a party and not invite everybody because, goodness, you could not invite everybody to every party, right? That just wouldn't work. But one thing you can do is be careful and be mindful about when you're talking about it. If there's kids or one kid or a couple kids sitting there who weren't at the party, then it's probably not a good time to talk about it. Maybe wait till later, till it's just you and the people who were there. That's one way to avoid hurting people's feelings. At choosing time, while the other kids played board games and read, Brian sits at his table doing what he loves to do best. He draws fire-breathing dragons scaling tall buildings. He draws space aliens locked into battle and greedy pirates digging for treasures, and superheroes with the power to make friends wherever they go. Drawing is kind of his way to escape from reality and feel like he has friends on the pages that he's drawing. That's my kitty, Bean. Miss say hi, Bean? Say hi, Bean. Bean lives in the attic too. She was rescued. Me and my girls rescued her from the bottom of a wood pile. She was crying. She was a tiny kitty, and her eyes were still closed. She was only like a day old, and we fed her with a bottle, and we'll get up at nighttime and take care of her. She was just teeny tiny, and we didn't know if she was gonna live, but she did, and now she's a really, really nice kitty, and we love her so much. Don't we, Beanie? Mwah. Yeah, say hi, Bean. Hello. Mwah. Why do you think that Brian's superhero has the superpower to make friends wherever he goes? Maybe he wishes that was his superpower. One morning, Mrs. Carlotti introduces Justin, a new student, to the class. Brian smiles shyly at him. Some of the other kids sneak looks at Justin, trying to figure out if he's cool enough to be their friend. They haven't quite made up their minds yet. If you look at Brian, he looks like he already made up his mind that he would like to be his friend. At lunch, Madison and JT watch Justin eat with chopsticks. "What's that?" they ask, as she points to Justin's food. It's bulgogi. It's Korean barbecued beef. My grandma made it for me, and it's really good. Do you want to try some? No way! All the kids laugh, all of them, that is, except Brian. He sits there wondering which is worse, being laughed at or feeling invisible. I don't know. Which do you think is worse? I think they both don't feel good at all. The next day, when Justin goes to his cubby to put away his backpack, he notices a piece of paper with his name on it. Justin, I thought the bulgogi looked good. From Brian. He drew a picture for him. At morning recess, Brian finds a piece of chalk on the ground and starts drawing away. You're Brian, right? Yeah. Thanks for the note. Hey, Justin, Amelia calls out from the tetherball court. You're up next. Sorry, I gotta go, says Justin. By the way, that's a really cool drawing, he adds before taking off. Look, while he's talking to Brian gets a little bit of color. When people start to notice you, makes you feel not so invisible anymore. Back in class, Mrs. Carlotti asked the kids to team up in 2s or 3s for a special project. The kids scurry around the room and pair off. Brian heads towards Justin. I'm already with Justin, says Emilio. Find someone else. So sad. Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. But then Justin says, Mrs. Carlotti said we can have up to 3 people in our group. We're only 2. Come on, Emilio, let him work with us. Okay, I guess. Aw, look at Justin, or at Brian. He feels so much better. He has some green on his shirt now. Good for Justin. Mrs. Carlotti gives the class directions for the project. Your assignment is to work together to write a story about what you see in this photograph. Use your imagination and have fun. Whoa, cool, says Emilio. What kind of people do you think would live in houses like that? I don't know, but I bet Brian could draw them to go with our story, says Justin. Brian smiles and takes out his lucky pen. Now he's all full of color and he's got a big old smile. Oh, so great. Here they all are working together. And it just took Justin saying, hey, let's have a group of 3. It's lunchtime again, Brian's least favorite part of the day. Another long 20 minutes of kids talking and laughing with everyone else but him. Brian! He hears someone shout out, hey, Brian, over here! Brian turns and sees Justin waving him over. Emilio nods at Brian as he makes room for him at the table. Now he has 2 friends, Justin and Emilio. That's probably one of the first times he's ever had someone say, hey, come over here. Just maybe Brian's not so invisible after all. So, sometimes every single person feels sort of invisible. But you aren't invisible, and people can like you just the way that you are. I'm going to read another story to you now called Courage. He's on the diving board. Courage is one of my favorite words. One of my favorite things, because it's really important to have courage. It's really hard, and you have to be brave, but I think everybody can be brave enough to have courage. So this story talks about all different kinds of courage. There are many kinds of courage. Awesome kinds. Look what these people are doing. I don't think I could ever do that. I'm scared of heights, and swinging around like that would make me very dizzy. But it's very cool that some people have that kind of courage. Everyday kinds. This guy's just on a diving board having trouble jumping off. Still, courage is courage, whatever the kind. Courage is riding your bicycle for the first time without training wheels. Courage is a spelling bee, and your word is superciliousness. Is that a word? I don't know. I never heard of that word, but I sure couldn't spell it either. Courage is 2 candy bars and saving 1 for tomorrow. Courage is mealtime and desperately hoping it's not chunky chunks in real gravy again. Courage is nobody better pick on your little brother. Courage is it's your job to check out the night noises in the house. Well, who wants that job? Yeah, not me. Courage is being the new kid on the block and saying flat out, "Hi, My name is Wayne. What's yours? Courage is tasting the vegetable before making a face. Courage is not peeking at the last 2 pages of your whodunit book to find out who did it. Courage is being the first to make up after an argument. Courage is deliberately stepping on the sidewalk cracks. Courage is the bottom of the 9th, tie score, 2 outs, bases loaded, and your turn to bat. Whew, that does take a lot of courage. Courage is the juicy secret that you promised never to tell. Courage is being sudsed and scrubbed by strangers, if you're a puppy. Courage is breaking bad habits. Courage is suddenly remembering a silly joke and trying not to giggle when everyone else is being especially serious. I have trouble with that one sometimes. Courage is arriving much too early for a birthday party. Courage is sending a Valentine to someone you secretly admire and signing your real name. Courage is admiring but not plucking the flowers. Courage is going to bed without a night light. Sometimes it's okay to pick flowers, right? If they're growing maybe in a field somewhere, or if your mom told you it's okay to pick some and bring in the house. The kind of situation this story is talking about is maybe like if someone had a really beautiful flower bed and they didn't want anyone to pick the flowers, or if you're somewhere and there's a sign that says don't pick the flowers, then it's the courage to look but not pick. Courage is deciding to have your hair cut. Courage is trying to cover up your mean, jealous side. Or not cover it up maybe, but maybe work on being kind and happy for people instead of feeling mean and jealous. Courage is a scenic car trip and being stuck in the middle during the best part and not complaining. Courage is explaining the rip in your brand new pants and telling the truth. Courage is exploring heights and depths. Courage is a blade of grass breaking through the icy snow. Courage is starting over. Courage is holding on to your dream. I like both of those, because everybody has to sometimes start over, and holding on to your dreams is really important, but does take a lot of courage, because dreams don't usually come true quickly. It takes quite a while. Courage is being a firefighter or a police officer. Courage is sometimes having to say goodbye. Courage is what we give to each other. That's a nice picture. A little boy with his puppy. Nobody can be brave by themselves all the time. We do need each other. Just like in the other story I read, Brian needed someone else to be able to be his friend so he didn't feel invisible. We need our friends or people that love us sometimes to help us have courage. Remember, when you don't feel brave or courageous, remember that nobody can feel that way all alone, and maybe you can ask for help. The next story I'm going to read to you is called One of Those Days. I thought maybe we all have been having one of those days, lately, more than normal because of life being so odd and weird. One of those days, what does that mean? One of those days. Some days are just not as great as others. Some days are one of those days. And the thing is, there isn't just one kind of one of those days. There are tons. This girl's waiting for the bus and a car went by. Splashed her mud on her from the puddle. Ugh. There is annoying sibling day and running late day. I'm sure everybody knows what both of those days are like. One freak hair day and no fair day. Oh, look, there's my one freak hair. See, just sticking straight out. Oh well. And no fair day. Someone else gets to eat the cookie batter. That's not fair. Do you say that sometimes? Maybe you have brothers and sisters who say that? Everybody knows what no fair day is like. Favorite pants too short day. Keep spilling stuff day. Oh. Do you know what those days are like? Nobody's listening to you day. That's frustrating. It just feels like no one's listening. Itchy sweater day. Oh, did you ever have itchy sweater day? I did. I had a sweater that had a turtleneck and it was so itchy. Oh, and I just kept scratching my neck all day. I just couldn't wait to take it off. And if you wear it to school or when you're going away, there's nothing to do but just itch your way through until you get back home and your neck's all red and irritated. Ugh. Too windy out day. Did you ever have one of those days? Say the wrong thing day. Best friend acting more like your beast friend day. Yeah, sometimes our best friends don't act so nice, right? And sometimes we don't act so nice either. Fun thing canceled day. Oh, we all know what that's like because right now we're having like fun thing canceled month, right? Big day kind of disappointing day. Uh-oh. This kid was having a birthday party and he got underwear for his present. That's disappointing, sorta. Gutter ball day and can't afford it day. Feeling left out day. Oh. Everybody knows what that day feels like. Feeling left out. Even when people leave you out, that doesn't mean you're not special. It doesn't mean you're not important. Everybody feels that way sometimes. You think you're right, but nobody else thinks so day. And the answer to everything is no day. Everybody has those days too. Look, the girl with the math problem, she thinks that 8 times 8 is 88. Makes sense why she would think that, but it's not true. But she really feels like it's true. Oh dear. The answer to everything is no day. Do you ever have that day where everything you ask, your mom says no, your teacher says no, your dad says no? Oh, my word, that's so frustrating. But it's a good opportunity to practice. And sometimes if you ask, could you tell me why, the person who's telling you no can explain it to you, and then it's easier to accept it, because a lot of times parents and teachers aren't just saying no just to be mean and just to say no because they like to say no. They have usually a really good reason. So next time people are saying no to you, maybe instead of getting angry, you could say, could you explain to me why? And then you could understand. Something to try. Oh, can't find stuff day. I have that day a lot. I lose things quite a bit. Not big enough day. Did you ever go to Knoebels and you just weren't quite tall enough yet? What about this over here? You can't find stuff. I know I have it somewhere. Where is it? Can't find the other sock. You can't find the book you're looking for. Oh dear. I spend a lot of time looking for stuff. Last in line day. Sad for no reason day. Do you ever have those days? Luckily, now this is the good news. Luckily, every single one of those days eventually turns into night. You know what that means? It means that every bad day, sooner or later, is over. They don't last forever. No bad day lasts forever. Eventually, it turns into night, and every single night turns into a brand new day. See? So, like in our case, with the coronavirus and school being closed, eventually there's going to come a day when it's time to go back to school, and it's time to go back to Open Door, and it's time to do the other stuff that you really love to do. Nothing lasts forever. No bad day lasts forever. I hope that you're having some fun times at your house. I'm sure you are. And one of the things that I'm going to do tonight after I'm done making the video for you, I'm going to work on a scrapbook, because so far 7 kids sent me letters. They're so far all Shine girls, but I put on Facebook today that even kids that come to Open Door anytime, anybody can write me a letter, and I will write you a letter back and send it in the mail. And if you go on the Open Door Facebook page, you can see where to send the letter to. You could just even draw me a picture if you don't know how to write. Send it to me, Miss Ann. I have the address on the page, and then I'll write back to you, and you'll get to open the mail and find a little letter with your name on it. Okay, and I might even put a little something special inside the inside your letter. But what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to start a scrapbook with all the letters that the kids sent to me, because I want to save them so I can look back over them and smile and remember how every single time I got a letter, it helped me not to feel invisible, and it gave me courage, and it made my day better. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed the stories, and I hope that tonight when you go to bed, you wake up tomorrow and it'll be a brand new day to try something new, or to do something special for someone else, or maybe to write me a letter. Bye-bye.